morning. Hi, good morning, Rachel. It was great hearing about some of your interests and what you value. Sounds like you really appreciate your friendships and you also just love spending time with your family. That was great to hear. I wanted to continue our chat and kind of go over the reason why it was recommended you come visit me. Your parents and teachers were kind of concerned with some of the issues you are having with your schoolwork. And together we wanted to look at ways to overcome these challenges and come up with strategies that might help you. Would you be able to tell me some of the challenges you were facing?
Well, my biggest challenge is that I'm not doing my homework assignments and projects. When I get
Mhm.
home, I'm just so burnt out from school and don't want to do more schoolwork. When my parents yell at me to do my homework, I sometimes yell back, which they don't like. My parents also think I'm spending too much time on Instagram, which I guess I am spending a lot of time on Instagram, but it's one of the ways I connect with my friends. I also sometimes just hate going to school.
So what I hear is that you're having a hard time transitioning from school, being in school, and then going straight into your homework. And then you're also you value friendship, and you like to use Instagram to kind of keep up with everybody, but you are using too much time onto that. You're spending too much time on that. Do you feel that these two issues are separate issues, or do you think they're linked together?
Well, I guess when I think about it, they are kind of related. I get home and start looking at Instagram and I forget about doing schoolwork.
Okay. So what makes you go to Instagram right away when you get home?
But when we're at school, we're not allowed to use our phones, especially not on social media. So when I get home, I just want to go back on Instagram and play catch up.
Okay, so it sounds like with one of your favorite things to do, which is go on Instagram, you're not able to do it at school. So when you get home, you just want to get back into it. All right, so you mentioned with your schoolwork, you feel burned out, and that you just when you get home, you're just done. Besides looking at your phone, does anything else happen that makes it hard for you to do your schoolwork at home?
Well, I get home and I've been sitting down all day listening to teachers and doing work. When I get home, I feel super overwhelmed and I just want to relax. The last thing I would like to do is start doing more schoolwork. This is when I get out my phone and go on Instagram, but I kind of lose track of time.
Okay, so when you don't do your homework, what usually happens?
Well, it depends. I mean, I get bad grades. If it is studying I need to do, I usually fail the test. And if it's an assignment, I will get all zeros.
Okay, so you mentioned what happens to you at school, but what do your parents do when you don't do your schoolwork?
Well, they usually find out around report card time, and then I get into huge trouble. Last time, I was grounded for a week and was not able to use my phone or hang out with my friends for 2 whole weeks.
So, what happens when you do your homework?
Um, Nobody really notices, but I do get better grades, and that makes it so I don't have to get grounded.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is that when you do your homework, you get bad grades, and sometimes you get grounded because of that. But when you do your homework, you do better in class, and you avoid being grounded.
Yeah, it's a bummer because I'd like to get better grades, and I hate being grounded. It's super tricky.
Okay, so it sounds like these are some things that behaviors you want to work on, and try to work on some new habits in order to do your schoolwork and limit your time on Instagram. Let's try to work together to establish some new skills and that can lead you to success.
That sounds great.
Okay, so during the times that you do your homework, what usually happens before you start it?
Well, sometimes I have a quick snack and wait a few minutes when I get home. Actually, yesterday my phone died and needed to be charged when I first got home. So I plugged it in and then went to do my homework.
Okay, so it seems like you're able to get back to work after short breaks, but really, when you're not around your phone, you're more likely to do that to get straight back to work after a short break. Is this correct?
Yeah, I guess it is.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so when you don't do your homework, what usually happens to right before that, before you choose not to do it?
It's usually when I've had a big day at school or wasn't able to talk with my friends much at school. It also happens when I get distracted by something in my house. Sometimes my brother and sister get in the way and my mom is using the computer.
I see. So could you explain what a big day is?
Yeah, a big day is when I have a lot of busy work during school or a test, or if I have a lot of assignments due that day.
Okay, so thanks for explaining that up to me. So it sounds like busy days are harder days for you, and it's harder for you to do your schoolwork right when you get home on those days. And then sometimes having a bunch of things going on around you is very distracting and hard to work. Okay, I think I'm starting to see some things that we can work on. To help replace the behaviors that have led to challenges, do you see a pattern of when you don't do your schoolwork?
Yeah, I guess I can see that going straight to my phone after school will often lead to me not doing my homework. I also see the harder days make it less likely that I will complete my homework. If I am around other people that are distracting, I may also not get started. On the days that I do my homework, I'm usually not near my phone, and I usually start doing my schoolwork after I take a short break from school.
Okay, so those are the things that happen before you do your schoolwork, or you don't do your schoolwork. But what happens after you don't do your schoolwork? Do you see a pattern there?
Yes, when I don't do my homework, I usually get bad grades and then I get grounded. I also spend a lot of time on the phone, which I enjoy, but I still want to avoid getting grounded. When I do my homework, I feel a sense of accomplishment and I avoid getting punished.
Okay, so you did a perfect job looking at the events that kind of happen before you do schoolwork, and then what's the consequences afterwards. Um, Using the approach, I think we can develop some strategies together. You said that once you get on Instagram, it's hard to get off. And the days that you do your schoolwork, you're usually away from your phone and it's plugged in. How do you think we could use this to help you complete your homework?
Well, I could always use more power on my phone, so maybe if I plug it in when I first get home, I could do that.
Yeah, and maybe have it be in a place that's further away. That sounds great. You also mentioned that you feel burnt out on hard days, but you have been able to take short breaks and come back. But that's only when you don't have your phone next to you. How do you think we could use this information?
Well, I guess I can set aside a short amount of time to take a break, but not use my phone or others' screens, and then start my homework.
Perfect. Having a break is always important for everybody, especially on hard days. Um, it's just a matter of keeping that phone away from you, it sounds like, at that point. Lastly, you mentioned that being in a busy location with your brothers and sisters is really distracting. Knowing that, what do you think we could do moving forward?
Well, maybe I could ask my mom to find a place where I won't get distracted by my brothers and sisters.
Perfect. You know what? We can actually just touch base with your mom to see if we can find that location for you. Okay, so you came up with some great strategies that can make it more likely that you would start your schoolwork. But I'd like to also suggest some things that might be able to help motivate you to continue your schoolwork as you go along. Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to share with you a point system. A point system is basically a way that you earn a certain amount of points each day for doing things like doing your schoolwork or staying on task. And then at the end of the week, for each of those days, at the end of the week, you'll get those points, they add up, and you can exchange those for different types of rewards. And I'll give you an example of it in a little bit.
But what kind of rewards would I get?
Okay, well, that depends. What do you like to do at school?
Well, obviously, I don't like to do homework, which is a part of my problem. But then also, I like to get it when my teacher lets me out of school early or class early so I can get into the snack line. And then I have my free period. I really like going to the library.
Okay, yeah, these sound like rewards we could use. We just have to double check with everybody involved, like your teacher and your parents, to see if we can use them. So it sounds like we're going to really focus on the homework completion, and then also staying off your phone when you're doing your work, and minimizing kind of that time on Instagram. So I did ask your teacher about how often you're completing assignments, and she said in the past 2 weeks you did about 30% of your schoolwork. So knowing that you're doing 30% now, what do you think would be a reasonable goal, like a percentage that we could do of the schoolwork?
Well, I want to be successful, so how about 60%?
I think that's a great goal. And I think that you can achieve that, and we'll start moving towards completing all of it at a later time, but start there. You also reported that when you do your schoolwork, you often have about half the time you have your phone with you. What do you think we could do as a goal to kind of limit the amount of time that you have your phone when you're doing your schoolwork?
Well, honestly, I don't actually need my phone when I do my schoolwork, so I guess every time I do my homework, I could just not have my phone with me.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll give it a shot and start there. All right, so here's the point system. You see that it's got Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Okay.
Each day, let's use Monday for an example, you can earn points. If you do your homework, you can earn 2 points for that Monday. If you stay on task and you stay away from your phone, you can get an extra point or a 1 point. So each day you can get up to 3 points. On Friday, we'll exchange them. So depending on how you do, so each day you can get those points. On Friday, they'll be exchanged. If you have 9 points, you can get a homework pass. If you have 8 points, you can get a front of the line pass. And if you get 7 points, you can have a library pass and you can go during your free period. This is set up with that goal of about 60% of your schoolwork done.
Okay.
Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds great.
All right, excellent. And we're going to be meeting in about 2 weeks. I'm thinking, do you think that's a reasonable amount of time to be able to go?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, perfect. So we'll go 2 weeks with this. I'll check in with your teachers and your parents and yourself, you when we get back.
Okay, great.
Excellent job, Rachel. It was great talking to you.
Awesome. All right, goodbye.